Last week, I received a call from one of my close friends. He had been watching the videos I have been recording lately and asked me, why don't you make a video on leadership? Leadership, that's a big one, right? It's a word that carries weight. We hear about it in books, in seminars, and in podcasts. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized something. Talking about leadership theoretically, that wasn't enough, right? And then it hit me. Why not show leadership through real world examples? Let's talk about those visionary leaders whose actions, not just words, shaped the history. Leaders who have inspired, led, and built legacies. So today I'm going to take you on a journey through the stories of three such legends whose actions and decisions shaped the history. These are the leaders who have set the bar with their visionary leadership. Our first story is about a man who did not just become a leader, he became the people's president, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, known as the Missile Man for his contribution to India's defense technology. Dr. Kalam had an unshakable belief in the power of youth. One day, while visiting a school, a young boy stood up and asked him, "Sir, how can I become a scientist like you?" Most leaders might have offered advice from afar, but Dr. Kalam was different. He asked the boy to come up to the stage. The boy, nervous and excited, walked up. Dr. Kalam gently placed his hand on his shoulder. He did not talk about the formulas or the scientific theories. Instead, he looked into the boy's eyes and said, "Dream big, work hard, and never give up." That moment did not just inspire one child, it inspired the entire generation. Kalam's philosophy on leadership was very simple. He believed that leadership was about planting the seeds of hope in the minds of youth. He taught us that true leadership is about lifting others, not through power, but through the connection and kindness. And now the second story on leadership is about a leader who we lost recently, Mr. Ratan Tata. But let me tell you another story before that. Ratan Tata was a Parsi, and how Parsis came to India. जब पारसी लोग फारस से, जो आज ईरान में हैं, ईरान से 8वीं सदी में इंडिया आए, तो उन्होंने गुजरात के राजा, उस टाइम जो गुजरात के राजा थे, जादी राणा से पनाह मांगी. वो नदी के रास्ते भारत में दाखिल हुए. जैसे ही राजा तक खबर पहुंची कि कुछ लोग एंटर करना चाहते हैं, तो राजा ने मना कर दिया, क्योंकि उनको लगा कि हमारे देश में पहले ही इतने लोग हैं. नाउ देयर वाज अ कम्युनिकेशन प्रॉब्लम. पारसी जो थे वो हिंदी नहीं समझते थे. किंग जो थे जादी राणा, उन्होंने पारसी लीडर को दूध से भरा एक प्याला भेजा, ये बताने के लिए कि हमारा देश पहले से ही भरा हुआ है और उसमें और लोगों की अब जगह नहीं है. इस पर पारसी का जो लीडर था वो बहुत इंटेलिजेंट था, तो उस दूध में थोड़ा सा शक्कर डाला और उसे घोल दिया बिना दूध को गिराए. उसका मतलब ये था कि वो इस समाज में मिठास की तरह घुल जाएंगे और बिना किसी तकलीफ के उसे और बेहतर बनाएंगे. राजा जादी राणा इस इंटेलिजेंट एंड फ्रेंडली जवाब से बहुत इंप्रेस हुए और उन्होंने पारसियों को अपने मुल्क में बसने की इजाज़त दे दी. पारसियों ने अपना वादा निभाया. वो हिंदुस्तानी समाज में मिलकर अपने तहजीब, अखलाक और कारनामों से उसे और बेहतर बनाया. दिस इज़ द ब्यूटी ऑफ आवर कंट्री, सो डाइवर्स and welcoming to everyone. Its diversity is what makes it beautiful, and it is fondly known as the unity in diversity. Parsis have contributed hugely in India's growth story. The most notable example is the Tata family, especially Jamsetji Tata, who is often regarded as the father of Indian industry. The Tata Group has established businesses in steel, Tata Steel, automobiles, Tata Motors, and the software services, which is Tata Consultancy Services, playing a crucial role in shaping India's industrial landscape. Tata literally makes everything from pin to aeroplane, from salt to software. The second very prominent family from the Parsi is the Godrej Group. The Godrej family, another influential Parsi business, has diversified interests in consumer goods, real estate, home appliances, and agriculture, significantly contributed to India's economy. The Wadia family has been instrumental in textile, aviation through Go Air, and food industries, Britannia, adding further to India's economic growth. As we move to our second story, it's with very heavy heart that we pay tribute to a visionary leader who we lost on 9th of October 24, Mr. Ratan Tata. His legacy is one that transcends business, inspiring millions through his humility, compassion, and leadership. Ratan Tata built global empires with his heart and soul, and his influence will be felt for generations to come. Let's honor his memory by looking back at one of the defining moments of his career, a story that exemplifies his resilience, vision, and grace under pressure. Back in 1999, Tata Motors was looking to expand into the passengers car market. Ratan Tata and his team approached the Ford with the proposal to sell Tata's car business. But in a meeting at Ford's headquarters in Detroit, Mr. Ratan Tata encountered disrespect. One Ford executive famously said, "You don't know anything about making cars. Why did you start this business at the first place?" Humiliated, Ratan Tata left that meeting. Fast forward to 2008, and the tables had turned. Ford's luxury car brands Jaguar and Land Rover were struggling. Ratan Tata, remembering the humiliations from years back, saw an opportunity and acquired Ford iconic car brand Jaguar and Land Rover. He did not just acquire Jaguar and Land Rover, he breathed new life into them. Under his leadership, Jaguar and Land Rover became profitable within just few years. The brands not only survived, but they thrived. Tata turned them into a global success story, proving his critics wrong. In an iconic twist of fate, years later, Ford executive humiliated Tata. They were now thanking him for saving their brands. In business, as in life, Ratan Tata's quiet determination and visionary leadership taught that world a timeless lesson in humility, resilience, and the power of long-term thinking. As we remember Ratan Tata today, we reflect on his immense contributions, not just to Indian industry, but to the global business landscape. His leadership was never about making noise, it was about making an impact, leaving behind a legacy of compassion, innovation, and integrity. He may no longer be with us, but his values and vision will continue to guide future generation of leaders to come. And now for our third story, a story from the world of sports, which I love the most. It's the story of a small town boy who would go on to lead India to some of the greatest cricketing victories, Mahendra Singh Dhoni. If you remember, when Dhoni took over as a captain, Indian cricket team was in shambles. They lost 2007 World Cup, lost to Bangladesh, lost to Sri Lanka, didn't even qualify for the quarterfinals. They came back to India, Greg Chappell was fired, and Ganguly was evicted from the captaincy even before the World Cup. Rahul Dravid came and said, "मुझे नहीं बनना captain." Sachin said, "Captain बनाओगे, मैं retirement announce कर दूंगा. मुझे नहीं बनना captain." So the board was like, किसको captain बनाए, किसको दे captaincy? And team's morale was so low and broken because there were protests across the streets. All of that happening, what kind of team that we have. The board actually did not care too much. They said, अगला जो भी आएगा बेचारे को प्रॉब्लम में ही डाल रहे हैं. किसका कैरियर वी कैन डिस्ट्रॉय and it won't hurt us. So board ने सोचा कि रांची से एक लड़का है धोनी, उसको दे देते हैं. If you understand the trajectory of Indian cricket, Yuvraj Singh was considered as the future star of India, more than Dhoni when both were contemporary players. But Yuvraj was not given the captaincy because board did not want to risk a star's career. They said it's a screwed up team, let them go one more level down. They made Dhoni the captain. He came from Ranchi. Ranchi did not have the stadium when he was made the captain. You know the first thing he did? He had the team of capable people, but not the committed. Sehwag did not used to go for the practice. Sachin said, "Achha beta, tu mujhse practice karayega." You know what he did? The first thing he did was this. He went to every single senior player and said, "Without you, I can't do this. I need you on my side." It sounds weak, right? Only a person who is strong can ask for help. A weak person tries to showcase that he is strong. Dhoni worked very hard to build the team. With his dedicated, committed efforts and with the help of the senior players, he rebuilt the team in merely 8 months of time. And in the same year, there was another World Cup, the first World Cup of T20. And the team reached into the finals. The final match was against Pakistan. With millions watching, the game came down to the last over. Most captains would have relied on their most experienced bowler, but not Dhoni. He took a bold risk. He handed the ball to a relatively unknown player called Jogendra Sharma. It was a move that shocked everyone, and it worked. India lifted the trophy, and a new era of leadership was born. Dhoni showed the world that leadership is not always about playing it safe. Sometimes it's about trusting your instincts and your people, even when the stakes are high. But Dhoni's leadership story did not end there. 4 years later, in year 2011, he faced perhaps the biggest challenge of his career, the 50-over World Cup final. India was playing on home soil and the pressure to win was immense. In the final match against Sri Lanka, India was chasing a tough target. When Virat Kohli got out, the expected move was to send Yuvraj Singh to the crease, who was India's star performer of the tournament. But Dhoni, trusting his own instinct, yet again walked to the bat ahead of Yuvraj. It was a decision that stunned everyone. Dhoni played one of the finest innings in the World Cup history. His calmness under pressure, his tactical acumen, and his fearless leadership were on full display. And then came the moment that will forever be etched in the cricket history. Dhoni finished the match in style, hitting a massive six to seal the victory and lifted the World Cup for India after 28 long years. And Ravi Shastri has put it beautifully.
Dhoni finishes off in style. A magnificent strike into the crowd. India lift the World Cup. After 28 years, the parties start in the dressing room, and it's an Indian captain who's been absolutely magnificent in the night of the final.
Dhoni's leadership was not just about making bold decisions, it was about leading from the front when it mattered the most. That night, he did not just lift the trophy, he lifted a nation's spirit. From a small town boy in Ranchi to becoming one of the greatest leaders in the world cricket. Dhoni's journey is a testament to the power of resilience, calm under pressure, and trusting your instincts. His legacy, much like his final shot in the World Cup, will echo in Indian cricket history forever. So what do these stories tell us? Leadership is not about titles or the power. It's about the empathy, vision, and courage. Dr. Kalam taught us to dream big and uplift the next generation. Ratan Tata showed us that leadership is about resilience, trust, and compassion in times of crisis. And Dhoni, well, Dhoni taught us the art of calmness in chaos and the power of trusting your dream. Each of these leaders has set the bar for what leadership should be: humble, resilient, and brave. They did not demand respect, they earned it. They did not seek to control, they empowered. And that's the lesson for all of us. Leadership is not about having all the answers, it's about having the courage to take the journey with others. So as we walk away from these stories, I encourage you to ask yourself, what kind of leader do you want to be? Will you inspire dreams like Kalam? Will you lead with compassion like Tata? Or will you remain calm in the storm, trusting your team like Dhoni? That I leave up to you to decide.